Hi and welcome to WoW Flash. This is my weekly news bit where I go over all of the news of interest at any rate related to Warcraft in the past 7 days. And of course we've had the final tranche of content for 7.3, not including the raid of course. That has mostly been what they certainly said at the start was the Netherlight crucible and the new dungeon. Of course it's also included new quests as well. I'll be talking more about that, what I think about it now that these 3 bits are out in my patch 7.3 review. But that's going to be this weekend. So in terms of for now, so the dungeon itself seems a lot better tuned than Cathedral was for 7.2. In fact, I haven't done it on Mythic yet, but one of my guildies got a 13 key. And so a group went in, I was listening on Discord, and apart from a few little yelps and panics to begin with, because they had no idea what they were doing in the dungeon, they actually cleared it in a decent time. So it sounds like it's a lot better and you can sort of work out what's going on, and it's not the horror show that Cathedral was that took nerf after nerf after nerf to sort of get it anything like right. The Crucible is out now, and as expected I was having a little look through posts to see what sort of people are saying about it. There are posts, certainly on the North American forum, with quite a lot of replies. There's like over 500 replies on one post. And it's a post, actually, by someone who's saying that they quite like it. As I was talking about, you would expect some people to say that. The vast majority, though, just scanning through are not at all in support of this. As expected, there hasn't been any blue responses on it yet. You wouldn't necessarily expect there to be, because I think Blizzard have already sort of said probably everything that they're going to say about it. Speaking of the Crucible, the tier 2 traits were changed. They were all tuned, or most of them were tuned at the 11th hour. A lot of nerfs, a few buffs. So just be a little bit wary. All the simulations should now work. But if you're going by a guide, any sort of guide that ranked those traits that came out before Tuesday is unlikely to be up to date. So just watch out for that one. Some classes and specs were buffed to compensate for the fact that not all classes and specs get the same benefit from a sudden and massive increase in weapon item level. Now, in Legion, we have been used to, because of the nature of the artifacts, that your weapon item level is probably going to be higher item level than your average gear level. But this has just accelerated. I mean, what? My weapon is now about 35 item levels above my average. It's a bit over. I think about 37. But let's not split hairs. It's a lot higher now. Now, for me personally, as a Retribution Paladin, that's great because a lot of my abilities are based on weapon damage. But for some other classes and specs where it's not really based off weapon damage, they didn't get anywhere near as big a damage boost, so that's why those buffs have come in. It's not a tuning based on performance of classes and specs up to this point. It was sort of planned because of this reason. The virtual ticket is now available for Blizzcon, so I've been on there. You get a couple of flying mounts, one alliance specific, one horde specific. Ironically, flying mounts of all things, so it's really hilarious at the moment. So Argus is the no flying zone, and you can buy flying mounts on Argus with those factions, and now we get these. And of course what's really strange is with this BlizzCon you sort of expect it, although maybe it's not intended this way, usually you sort of expect it to be related to maybe something that's coming up, but maybe it's not. Maybe it is a Legion themed one, because what you notice is that the mounts are actually these skyships and dirigibles of the Horde and the Alliance that sort of crashed on the Broken Shore in the opening cinematic for Legion, triggering this great meme, by the way. But so maybe that's all it's about, and it's not actually giving us any hint of the next expansion, even though the expectation is that he'd be announcing that at BlizzCon. The Argussian Reach faction. This does make it. So this is like the secondary faction on Argus. And when the Emissary quest came out for it last week, you needed 4 world quests to complete it. But there weren't 4 world quests for it, or at least I certainly didn't see 4 world quests. In fact, I could only find 1 to begin with. And then when you unlocked Makari, then you got more unlocked. but Blizzard nonetheless sort of recognised there's not that many to go around. So within a day, they reduced the requirement from 4 to 3, a bit like with the Kirin Tor when that first came out. And that was how it sort of went. Then this week, it's come back. It came back on, I can't even remember, Tuesday for me anyway. And, I went on. So you needed 3, and I only had 2. And I'd done the quests on Makari at this point. But there are only 2 available. So, well, this is good, isn't it? I sort of knew there'd be another one the next day. Of course, when the reset came out, there's more Makari quests, which means more world quests unlocked. And so Blizzard have actually done the reverse this time. Now they're deeming it that there's plenty of world quests out there, and you can do 4 again. So the requirement went from 3 on the first day, when I only had 2 to do, to 4 on the second day, when I did actually have enough, because I'd already done 2 the previous day. Had I not done those 2 the previous day, though, I'm not sure. Now, someone did post about this, and Blizzard did respond. So someone said, as of this writing, I have no Argussian quests on my map. It says, I haven't unlocked Makari yet. I mean, so we all know now what the issue is there. But again, the whole idea of the emissary quests is that you're supposed to not have to play every day. And if you don't have that much time, that's a bit dodgy. But still not seeing any others anywhere else. Now, the blue response here sort of seems to be going, well, I seem to be finding it fine. And yet what they say says the opposite. It says, just as a tracking note, there were at least 2 yesterday for me. Well, 2 yesterday isn't enough, is it? Because you need 4. So you're not really helping. And then it says here, so there were at least 2 yesterday for me. 3 by some accounts. Some accounts means some people were saying there were 3. Well, you can't just say, well, some people can complete the emissary cache. And we don't mean for everyone to be able to do it. Well, yes, you do. And it says, and 4 including a pet battle. No. Blizzard have been quite clear they don't have to include the pet battle. They don't insist we do pet battles. So it says there's currently at least 1 more up in Makari. And I did 2 more earlier today on Krokun. Now, of course, this is, I mean, I don't know what this is like at all. I have to say, though, I have seen, when the Argussian Reach emissary quest has been active, I have seen 1 world quest on Krokun. 1 out of the whole week and a bit that it's been out. And there's been 2 versions out. So, in fact, a guildie of mine was linking what their map looks like, even on Makari, with everything unlocked this reset, and showing that they had 1 world quest. I had several, so I was okay. They had 1. So I think there's some bugs in here, because it shouldn't be different for everyone like this. And it says here, as said before, more Argussian Reach world quests will be available next week. They were writing this before the reset, of course. And hopefully we won't see this issue again in the future. Well, we are still seeing it. I mean, I don't know why there just aren't more on Corcoran. And I don't know why the game doesn't guarantee a generation of enough world quests, even if you haven't unlocked all the normal quests, because they take a little bit of time for people that don't really know their way around things. And maybe don't have that much time each day to play as well. But, that's my opinion. Next thing is a new pet out. Shadow is out with the proceeds going to disaster relief. They do this sort of roughly once a year, don't they? Bring out a pet with the proceeds going to some charity for a limited time, after which it sort of reverts to just going into the normal pet profits type thing. But for now, yeah, the actual charity this is going to is disaster relief efforts, which I suppose is quite a timely thing there. Then waystones as a currency were removed this week. So what had been the case for for 1 week really, wasn't it? With invasions, as you got these waystone things, but there was a cap of 40 or something like that. But if you did invasions regularly, you'd get way more than this cap. There was no real use for them. It was just a pointless currency. So Blizzard have sort of realised this now. Bit strange to realise it now, but they have, and they've replaced it. It's just with, you just now get Veiled Argonite, so you're getting a useful currency now instead of having to waste up a pointless one, which means, of course, no more capping on a pointless currency as well. Now, in terms of what Blizzard have been saying, they've said a few interesting things here. Someone asked the question, instead of having big gaps between expansions and raids, why not introduce a system like Mythic Plus raids? What? But the response here, is hard to get a sense of the audience for that. Yes, I think that was my first thought. Is it people who have fully cleared the current tier on Mythic and want more challenge? If so, that's a pretty tiny group, many of whom sorely appreciate some downtime to relax before they start preparing for the next tier. Yes. So yes, I don't know what that was about. But in terms of more useful response from Blizzard, so they sort of telling us that if you're in a position now where, because now champion missions are a little bit more important, they're giving much better rewards, more important rewards. If you're like me and you've got alts and you've been lazy on them with missions, or it's just taking you a long time to get them sort of leveled up, just a reminder, if you want to go out and farm nether shards still, they're not completely useless. You can actually use nether shards, and they're fairly inexpensive, relatively speaking, to purchase not only a set that will instantly boost your champion to 880 item level, which should then give you access to the missions that give you the instant boost to 900 item level that you can get, but also you can buy items that will increase their experience. You don't just have to keep sending them on quests, getting a few thousand experience at a time, or taking one along with you as like a bodyguard type thing. You can actually purchase tokens that will just boost their experience as well. Again, if you've got a lot of nether shards on a character that wasn't really paying much attention to their champions, or if you just want to get nether shards now, which is not as easy now because you don't get them for turning in the war supplies anymore, do you? But you can still get them for doing the Broken Isles invasions if one happens to be up at the time. Then you can purchase that. And you can get that from the vendor on the Broken Shore that is still remaining. And that's basically it for the news for this week. Just to go over streaming, there's one little addition this week. So the normal streaming for me tends to be Monday to Thursday inclusive 7 PM UK time, with Monday, Wednesday and Thursday being our guild raid night. So I tend to just stream that. If I'm not in the raid, I will just go around doing world quests. Still available to chat. Tuesday is the Tuesday Talk, which is what gets uploaded to YouTube afterwards as well. But I take questions and we do sort of discussions prompted by viewers on that. But on Saturdays in the afternoon from 3 PM, I stream a bit of general gameplay. Again, it's probably going to be on main at the moment. It has been on outs. It can be other games as well. But, you know, it's still going to be, until I finish with doing lots of world quests, it's going to be on my main tomorrow. But there's going to be another one tomorrow. So it'll be cut slightly short. It'll be like 3 hours rather than 4. Because in the afternoon at 7 PM UK time, there's going to be the Retribution Paladin live Q&A, which I sort of do every patch-ish. So that's going to be tomorrow. That's going to last usually about an hour and a half. Sometimes it creeps up to 2 hours, but I sort of aim for an hour and a half from 7 PM UK time. So join me then if you're interested in Retribution Paladins. So thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.